Emily answer this question.
Can you tell me about a situation when you worked in a group and one person didn't do their part of the assignment?
Yes, so we had to do a group paper, which is always kind of awkward because everyone has different writing styles, and to put everyone's different written parts into one cohesive paper is always a struggle. So the way I handled it was we got together and understood the assignment and stuff, and I did what I do, and I gave people their tasks that they should do. And unfortunately, someone in the group just didn't really do their part at all. So I just took it upon myself to write the whole thing, and that's sort of how I resolved it, is just sort of taking my own brain and doing it by myself and sort of leaving them out of it. So in the end, our paper was good because I took control and it worked out perfectly. But when it came time to review how it went with the group, our professor asked us to sort of write up like, oh, how did everyone work together? And I was very honest and said that person just didn't do anything and never got back to me. So I think the professor took that into account when giving them their grade.
Emily's use of the words awkward or struggle don't set a positive tone for this answer. Emily doesn't communicate with the group members, but instead tells us about her need to take control rather than collaborate with other team members, and even mentions how she rats one of her team members out. It's important to remember to talk about anyone you mention in your interview in a positive tone, even if you didn't get along with that person or they didn't collaborate in your group project. Now let's take a look at Emily answering this question one more time.
Can you tell me about a situation when you worked in a group and one person didn't complete their part of the project?
I was assigned to do a group paper, and the situation was we had to sort of write a paper about wage discrimination in Pittsburgh. So we decided to go and interview a bunch of people and sort of figure out what they felt, get some qualitative analysis that way. And it was our task to go out and meet those people, ask them questions, and then also sort of come back and talk to the group about how our progress was doing. We had actually set up little progress reports and times to meet throughout the entire duration of the assignment. Unfortunately, one of our group members didn't show up to some of the meetings, and they also, I'm pretty sure, hadn't done any interviews about halfway through the assignment time, where they definitely should have been getting the ball rolling with that. So I took it upon myself to go and ask that student sort of what's going on, ask them how they were feeling about it, sort of just inquire as to if they were having any problems or if they needed any help. And by being active and going out and asking them, I'm really happy I did that, because the students sort of confided in me that they didn't understand the whole foundation of what was wrong in Pittsburgh, and they didn't really understand how the wage discrimination was really affecting all these other things that we had discussed about. So it was great because I got to resolve everything by sort of pairing up that student that was having problems with another student who really understood like this topic very well. And that student also gave the other student sort of examples on how to reach out to the people they were supposed to interview. And I think that student felt a lot more comfortable, and luckily in the end it turned out great because we got an A on the project.
Can you tell me about a situation when you worked in a group project and one person didn't complete their part of the assignment?
Yes, so the situation was that we were assigned to do a group paper, and we were tasked with sort of looking at a social problem in Pittsburgh. So we decided to pick wage discrimination within the city. And we decided that we were going to do interviews with a variety of people who lived around the city in different areas, in addition to our regular research. When we started out with the project, we picked a few progress report times to get together and just sort of chat and figure out how everything was going with everyone. And unfortunately, one of our group members just wasn't showing up, and we sort of had a feeling that they weren't doing their interviews either. So I took it upon myself to actively sort of seek out my classmate, and at the end of class I asked if they were sort of having any problems. I sort of just tried to get a feel for how they felt about the assignment and how they felt their progress was going. And I'm really happy I did that because they sort of told me, I don't really understand the whole foundation of wage discrimination. They weren't understanding the big picture that we had discussed in the beginning. So I'm really happy I did that because we got to resolve the situation by having another one of our group members pair up with this person. And it was great because they sort of gave them more insight to the whole foundational big picture thing, but then also gave them examples on how they reached out to the people that they were going to interview. So I think my group member felt way better and more comfortable with what we were doing, with how they were going to go about finishing the project. And in the end, it turned out really great because we ended up getting an A.
This time, Emily was able to organize her thoughts and language in a positive tone to really show some great results. She used the STAR method. For example, she starts out with a situation of having to write a paper about wage discrimination, and this was also a group project. Her task was then to interview different people that fell into this category, but Emily discovers that one of her team members was a little bit disengaged. Using some creative problem solving, Emily pairs up the disengaged team member with another team member that was able to explain the project, and it ended up being really successful after everyone was on board. Emily does a really great job emphasizing her empathetic leadership style, going above and beyond to help the entire group despite a team member struggling. If you have an upcoming interview and you need some help, make sure to schedule an appointment with your career consultant at the Career and Professional Development Center.